Welcome back to the movement Fierce Leader. The video is also part of the Weaver podcast on YouTube, the YouTube channel, the Weaver podcast. Let's dive into a quick presentation. I know there is a few people who join us here, maybe see the video for the first time. So quick presentation. I'm Sonja Wood. I'm now a mediator and specialist in conflict management. So what that means is basically I really want people to feel more peace and more connection in their relationships. Less drama, more connection. That's pretty much the motto that I live by. So today I want to share something that I feel it's in the context of relationship, but more focused on personal aspect of it. And so while it may not necessarily be applicable in like an interaction with someone, I think it has a lot of impact on relationship as well as have many coping strategies. So I just feel called to share that. Maybe some of you are gonna listen to it at some point in time and space, and that will resonate. And so that means maybe that's not a coincidence. So one of the things I've been reflecting on lately is making peace with myself. And what I mean by that, you'll understand very quickly. We grew up in society by having projections on us. Basically, we're being taught what success looks like, what a happy life looks like, what security, safety looks like, what many things should be in terms of being an adult, being an accomplished and fulfilled adult. And so you may create those ideas, and the word ideas is very important here. You may create those ideas of what it means to be a successful woman or man, what it means to have a family, to have a happy family, what it means to have a happy marriage or a happy partnership, what it means to have a lot of things, what is the ideal job. You may create those ideas about what you think it should be. And basically that's just because when we're very small children and early teenager years, we just learn by observing our environment. Now here's a catch. Sometimes the environment is not favorable to your path of being the most successful and the most accomplished and fulfilled adult. That doesn't mean you can't achieve that. It means maybe what you like to do, what you desire to do when you're a young person, what you're attracted to is not what your environment is valuing. A very simple example can be if you love arts and you want to be an artist, you want to be a painter, you want to be a musician, but your environment is very much down to earth and very much in science, and you have to get a degree and you have to get, a master degree, a PhD, and art is not life and all those things. Then your soul is calling for, your intuition is calling you to explore arts and crafts and express artistic talents, but your environment doesn't value that. What happens at that point is you may develop the coping strategy that, depending on your temper, depending on your personality, of course, you may develop that coping strategy where you're actually dimming the intuition, shutting down these little nudges, this little intuitive voice that you have that is calling you to explore certain things. because you crave to belong. Like every human, we have that all in common. We want to belong. And so maybe depending on your sensibility and depending on your emotional personality, maybe having that feeling at an early age that you don't belong, you don't feel that you fit in that environment you're in at that point in time, is too painful. Maybe you're realizing that you don't feel you belong in that family, you don't feel you belong in that circle of friends or in school system. Maybe it's too painful. And the thing, when you're very young, you're a child or a teenager, you don't have all the resources to go on your own. You still need the you still need the structure of the parents, the financial support of the parents eventually, and the path that the school, like the structure the school can offer somehow. So if you don't have all those resources to go on your own, to just leave the house and get out, some people do it in extreme situations, but that's rare. And I wish for you've not been in that situation, but you may not have the resources. That's just because adults are supposed to care for younger children. So in that situation, you develop that coping strategy where you actually, rather than feeling the pain of not belonging in your environment, you're like having this little voice on your shoulder that tell you, hey, explore this, explore that, it's so fun. And it's not what it's about. It's not, I can't do that. And so you start to judge yourself because maybe you've been told that success is a certain way. You've been told that, you know, to make a living, to succeed in life, to achieve certain things in life, you have to do certain things in a certain way. You have to go to certain places, certain universities or certain schools or certain jobs. And so if what your intuition is telling you doesn't match that projection that people are doing, then your coping strategy might have been to just shut down your truth, your authenticity, and your core self. So, what do we do now? We set ourselves free. Because while it served a purpose at some point in our life to not let it speak too loud, because that would mean not belonging, that would mean painful, that would mean being hurt, that would mean, what am I doing here if I'm not like them? It served a purpose to not have to face all those feelings of pain and the hurt that we felt when we were very young and we didn't have the emotional mastery to deal with that. But now you're grown up, now you're on your own. And so you have that possibility to set it free, to make a choice. Actually, it all comes back to the choice we make. And to make a choice of, do I want still to let what people project on me or have projected since I was born? Do I want this to let define what I do in life, to define who am I becoming? Or do I not choose to set this intuition free, to set the nudges free, to let it free out of the cage that you may have created out of the coping strategy? And so what I'm saying, it has indirectly a lot to do with relationship, is because while it's a very personal matter, it's a very individual thing to do, a very individual reflection to have. It does impact how you lead in relationship in a way that if you let other people project their own truth on you, can you imagine how much limiting you're experiencing things? How much limited you leave your own experiences? And then in the end, if other people's projection are imprinted on your own experiences, then who is deciding what you experience and in which measure you experience it? Is that really you? Or is that people who projected a certain idea of what it should be? And I was saying the word idea is very important because there is a big difference when you start to reconnect with your own intuition, when you start to reconnect with your core authentic self. There is a big difference, and there is peace here to make between the idea you had of what it should be if you're successful and happy and living your best life, the idea you have of making it successful, and what your intuition is guiding you to do and to become, to be successful. And there is something I have no doubt about, is when you listen to your intuition, you ultimately become the most successful, healthiest, and the most wealthy version that you can be in this lifetime. So there is a distinction to make between the idea you have of becoming that version, what it should be, because you've seen maybe a movie, a documentary, you read a book about a story, someone achieving something, and like, oh, I want to do that. And so you build that idea, it should be like that if I succeed. Or you get this intuition that maybe what your way to get there is not quite the same as the movie or the book, but we're getting there. But just let the intuition guide you to there. And so this actually connects to the video I made about success, where you now see it as a journey to discovering your most authentic self, to discovering and releasing your own truth and expressing it, rather than a pressure to attain a certain idea of success. I'll let you reflect on it. That's a lot. And if you feel that this needs more depth into your reflection, don't hesitate to journal about it, to seek maybe therapist if you want to dive deeper into coping mechanism related to childhood. If you feel you need to talk about it with friends, family, just any way that helps you to process is welcome. Okay? I'll let you on that note. Don't forget the Butterfly Masterclass to sign up and receive all the information for the release day. And we talk soon. Take care of you and have a good day.